Hi, I'm Lara and this is tropetrinitytrilogy, and today I'll be doing the What I Struggle With as a Writer tag. One thing I'd like to note is I realized when unboxing the Just Me Wrigley toy that I was completely lacking in cute dog shirts. So when I went on vacation, I got a shirt with a cute dog, so I feel fulfilled now. I'll just put you there, Wrigley. But anyway, so this tag was created by Mike Frezzi Writes, who is also the one who tagged me. So thank you, Mike, and I will link his original video down below. Now this tag is simple and sweet because it has only one question, and that is, what do I struggle with as a writer? And well, dear viewer, that is pretty much everything. I struggle with doubt on my own writing skill, especially when hearing people critique books or when reading books myself. And even if its book is great, then I'm like, oh, my writing won't be as good. If a book is flawed, then I'll be like, oh, my book is flawed too. And I'm saying this book is flawed, but mine probably would be worse, and I suck, and I'm the worst, which... Granted, I do think you can review books and dislike a book, and you don't have to be a good writer to do that. Most readers aren't writers. That's just how it is. So, but the thing is like, I feel like I'm worried I'm not good enough. And then other things, I hate editing. My short stories, I need to edit them. I'm trying to edit them. And that's just boring. I'd rather write a first draft. And then I have issues completing my first drafts. I can finish a short story if I'm passionate about it, but then I'm terrible at finishing things. I just suck at everything, guys. Like, what do you struggle with as a writer? Insert every possible struggle ever, except coming up with ideas. That's the only thing I think I'm good at. But then, even then, I change things all the time, which normally, I will say, I think I consistently change things, at least on a plot level, maybe not a sentence level, for the better. And I think that's one of the things that is good about me waiting and not finishing so quickly, is that I'm only 21. I do feel like I want to put out the best product ever or possible for myself. And so I don't want to rush this. I don't want to force myself to put something out I'm not ready to. But I should complete something so I can edit it, and then I should actually bring myself to edit it. Yeah, and then also, though, when I'm editing my short story, now I'm worried I'm making it worse because I'm trying to flesh things out more by making it longer. And short stories are supposed to be short, but now I'm expanding it. I'm like, am I making it worse? Am I making it too wordy? Was it more poignant when it was shorter and less in depth? And Well, thanks, Mike. I'm having an existential crisis. Thanks a lot. No, I'm just kidding. This is a great tag. I like how it's short and I can just ramble. And then so I'm worried I'm making everything worse. I can't finish anything. I can't edit because my editing's worse, and I get bored. And also, I constantly change projects. A lot of my project ideas too are super expansive with multiple characters, and I need to write something simpler first. I mean, you don't have to start easier, but I feel like I should. And then I'm also constantly switching what I'm working on, hence why I never finish anything. I have written for scenes and stories, even for one story, I've written enough to have a massive novel. I've written 100,000 words for my Sicarius Saga story. I'm not close to done. 100,000 words, that's because I rewrote the scene. I rewrote the beginning like 500 times. I completely changed it. That story was originally like some made-up medieval-esque world. Now it's in the alternate version of the Roman Empire, which is for the better. This story is way better than it was before. Before it was kind of like the whole year special thing. I thought of in high school, of course, like I was like, oh, the main character's special for no reason, and she's getting trained because the story, of course, needs a training sequence, and now I'm like, I thought of better ideas as I got older. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a training sequence into your story, but that story shouldn't have just been a training sequence. That was not good. So obviously I've grown and my ideas have gotten better, hence why I think my ideas are great. And even the original core of that story was a really cool idea that I'm really proud of and still want to write. The core is still there, but it's changed. And also, I forgot the point I was making. This video is literally just me rambling. I'm rambling so much. Also, I'm worried that on a sentence level, my writing isn't that good, because I know I'm write very straightforward and blunt, but then I want to write like those pretty people, you know, like they write nice sentences and paragraphs, and I'm worried that my writing is very repetitive with me structuring sentences too much the same way. And I know I did good in my one short story, my first creative writing class. In my second creative writing class, I wasn't passionate about anything I wrote, and that's another thing. I have trouble forcing myself to write ideas if I don't want to. Now, I can write a story, and I think that's only a class issue, though. I've never had that issue writing for myself. Even if I'm not in the mood, I can still write my story, or I just won't write as much. But for class, I hated it. If I have to write a story that I don't feel like want to write, I just hated it. So in that class, I enjoyed writing the first story, but the second short story, I had no idea, because most of my ideas are long. So I forced myself to write a short story, and I hated it. So yeah, that was terrible. I would rather have written an essay about plumbing than write that short story that I didn't like. Because if I write an essay that's crap, it's an essay. I wasn't passionate about it. Short stories, though, creative writing is something I take seriously, and having to write that and have the class read it, and then them being critiquing it, and me being like, I hate it more than any of you could ever hate this story. This story is the worst. So that's a thing. I also might be too harsh on myself based on this. But then I also feel like I talk a lot about story. Because like as a reader, I can talk about tropes. I can critique stories on a reader level and say, I think this is good, I think this is bad. Like, movie critics don't necessarily make movies. Book reviewers don't review books. But since I am reviewing stuff and I am talking about tropes, but I also want to make stuff, then I feel like that I'm acting like I'm better than myself, but I'm not good at anything. What is this video? This video is just me ranting. But going back to me saying I suck at completing things, I'm the worst at completing things. Like, I've completed short stories, but they're short. My issue is I constantly go back and re-edit things. I have new ideas and I change things. I am constantly evolving my stories, which before I did say was great. I really like how my stories change. I feel like they get better when I change them, but it prevents me from completing things too. The amount of times I've written the first chapter of my current story is ridiculous. Well, not my current story. My current story, I actually switched on because, again, I keep switching projects because I was like, you know, I want to write a standalone first instead. And I finally had an idea for a standalone, so I decided to write that. But the other story, the Sakari Saga one, I've written that first chapter so many times. And I recently re-edited it over NaNoWriMo, and I changed what the first chapter would be. I re-outlined it. I didn't re-edit it. So I've made an outline for that story so many times. I keep changing it. And the thing is, it is for the better. I think it's for the better. But I need to write it. But then during Nano at the end, I just rewrote this current story. Now that's what I'm writing. So, yeah. But anyway, I do want to actually finish this story first because it's a standalone. I feel more comfortable querying a standalone and seeing how I do with traditional publishing. Because this other story, Sakari Saga, is so close to my heart that I don't want to risk it. I don't want to give it away to traditional publishing only for them to be like, yeah, you don't get to publish the rest of the series because we don't like it enough. I don't want to give away my first book without knowing if I'll get the second or third out. But yeah. So, I constantly re-edit things. I don't finish things. I hate editing except when I'm writing because I re-edit everything. I constantly re-outline things. My ideas constantly shift, which prevents me from finishing things. And then when I am supposed to actually edit something that's complete, I don't like editing it. I have trouble concentrating. I constantly switch projects. I daydream more than I write because I'm the worst. And yeah, so what do I struggle with as a writer? Everything. Every single thing possible. So yeah, anyway, I would love to hear if you have any struggles like mine. If you have any struggle, you probably overlap mine unless your struggle is coming with the ideas. Because I only struggle with that when it's for school because it's too much pressure to try to combine something for school and short stories when I don't have an idea for a short story. I do like short stories. I want to try to write more and send them magazines, but I can't write one unless I have an idea for one. I don't want to force one out of myself. But yeah. Anyway, if you have any struggles, please let me know below. If you think I was overly rambly or you're like, wow, you're a hot mess. Why are you on AuthorTube even? I don't know. I'm not an author. They just named it AuthorTube. I'm a writer. RightTube. #RightTube. I'm not an author. it might be a while. But yeah, I do. The thing is though, is that I would rather wait to publish something I'm proud of than publish something now. Force myself to publish something. I'm 21. Like, I don't need to publish my book right away. Just calm, Laura, calm. And take my time. And I do need a better work ethic. I need to work on that. But I'm not going to force a story out that isn't what I think is good enough. Whether I traditionally publish, self-publish, or do a mix, I want the story to be something I'm proud of. And the truth is, with indie publishing, of course, I can publish a piece of crap. But traditional publishing doesn't necessarily mean the book's good. I've read a lot of traditionally published books that I personally would want to make something better quality. And at this point, I'm not sure if I'm skilled enough to even make that quality that I didn't like as much. Like, if I wrote a book right now, would I genuinely give it a good rating? Or would I end up giving my own book like 1 star? I'm like, this makes no sense. So, I don't know. I want to write a book that I think is 5 stars. And, well, not even just write. I want my book that I publish to be a 5 stars, at least to me. And not in like a biased way. But even though it's hard to get rid of bias, you know what I mean. So, yeah. That was what I struggle with as a writer. Everything. Everything. I struggle with everything. Period. Done. Except coming up with good ideas. Unless it's for a class and it has to be for a specific type of story, then I can't write a short story idea cruise. I guess I did have trouble thinking of a story idea for that. But like I have like 50 novel ideas that I want to write all of them, and I think they're all awesome ideas, but I'm not sure if I can execute them as good as they are in my head, because I'm not sure if I'm as skilled of a writer, as much of a daydreamer. I'm more of a daydreamer than a writer. Can I even call myself a writer? What I struggle with as a writer, what I struggle as a wannabe writer who's actually just a daydreamer, because I'm the worst. Anyway though, I keep adding on, I keep ranting, but I'm going to finish now. So, thank you for watching. Please let me know any struggles you have below, if you have any overlaps, what you think of mine, if you have any advice for me, because I need all the advice. It's not unsolicited, because I just asked for it. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.